I think people tend to have a strong emotional reaction to this exhibition, whether that's sadness or anger or disbelief. I think that it's a full range of emotions, which is important. I think we need to have all of those things, because this is this humanitarian crisis that's been happening for decades that no one is ever talking about. It remains well hidden because it's happening in the desert, out in the middle of nowhere. And so, for us, it's important for people to come here and engage with this in a meaningful way. Migrants coming across the U.S.-Mexico border, the majority of them really come through the Arizona desert, or at least they did for decades. Now people are starting to come once again through Eastern California as well as through South Texas. But those coming through Southern Arizona, which has been millions of people, experience extreme environmental conditions. So they're walking through this harsh desert landscape that is devoid of water sources. They're facing extreme heat during the summer. They're facing extreme cold during the winter. So you can freeze to death in the winter. You can die of dehydration during a great part of the year. You can drown during the monsoon seasons in the late summer. You're also trying to cross, hundreds of square miles of one of the most rugged terrains in the United States, in the Western Hemisphere. They're often traveling without a compass or a map, using the stars to navigate and other natural markers on the landscape. But it's really a very intense, both physical and emotional experience for folks. And thousands of people have died during this process. There's been about 4,000 sets of recovered remains from Arizona alone. And much of the forensic work that we've done really suggests that number dramatically underrepresents the actual number of folks who have died during this process. Here on this wall, this is just a small sample of the hundreds of missing persons flyers that we have, at the Undocumented Migration Project, and the families that we work with. And it's all, it's all sizes, all genders. So you've got the things left by children, the things left by women and by men, as well as a collection of shoes. People often carry extra pairs of shoes in their backpacks, hats and other things to keep the sun out of their face. But then also, a range of other kind of more personal items. These are embroidered tortilla warmers, people bringing oftentimes things from home that represent a connection to family and to place. And so you end up finding these things that, some of the stuff people, I think, were intentionally trying to discard. So the food wrappers and the water bottles. But then, of course, there's other things that were very personal and were never meant to be left behind. Migrant crossings were relatively low in Arizona, so 15 to 20,000 apprehensions in a given year. And migrant death was relatively low, so a couple of dozen people a year. Prevention through deterrence is a policy that goes into place in 1994, hence the exhibition title, Hostile Terrain 94. That policy goes into place, and it it tries to shift migration away from urban zones, so away from San Diego, away from El Paso, and through different infrastructure, push people towards the Sonora Desert of Arizona. The idea was that if people have to walk 65 miles across this harsh desert, they will be deterred because it's such an extreme experience, and if enough people die, then word of mouth will spread and people will stop coming. But what ended up happening was people were now funneled through the Arizona desert, and you have this enormous leap in the number of folks. So you go from a couple of dozen deaths in a year to now hundreds of deaths in any given year. But all of this is linked up to this policy of prevention through deterrence, which is still the primary security paradigm that's in place right now. That's how we police the U.S.-Mexico border right now, is through this policy.
Guy? Yeah, the K9.
Hey, you want me to go grab the truck?
Yeah.